What's up, guys? Just wanted to hop on here real quick. I was writing a blog and talking to some people about blood flow restriction for ACL injuries and just rehab injuries in general. So I kind of wanted to briefly go over that and then kind of explain what it is and why I think it's useful for anybody. I just noticed that you can see this nice lawn chair that I'm sitting in my family room. I'm in the process of moving, so got kind of an empty apartment right now, but we'll dive back into it here. So BFR, blood flow restriction, if you don't know what that is, basically it's a way to occlude the blood flow into your muscles. It goes around your arm or it goes around your leg, and actually doesn't fully cut it off. It makes sure that when you're resting, blood can't come back out, or it's harder for blood to come back out of the muscle, back to the center of gravity, or middle of your body. And when you actually are doing the movement, the muscle contraction is allowing the blood to flow back into the muscle. So it's not completely occluding it, but it makes it harder for that blood to come out of the muscle. So you'll see like redness, purpleness, some blotchy coloring on the extremities when you're using it. Research shows you can safely use it for 20 minutes. We're usually doing it within, depending on the doctor, within a week or two after surgery, specifically with ACLs. It's a good way to increase intensity of the exercises without having to use weight, okay? So if I'm trying to increase strength, obviously I can get people built up to doing body weight stuff or doing quad contractions on a table. Using the BFR, even with just a quad contraction on a table, is going to be a good way to help build up muscle mass, and research has shown that it actually can help trick the brain into thinking that you're using type 2 fibers, or I guess you technically are using type 2 fibers, and it's actually going to release the same hormone level or similar hormone level to lifting heavy weight without the muscle damage. So you're not going to be as sore usually, but while you're doing it, it definitely sucks. You're sweating, you're burning, and basically since you don't have that new blood flow in there, that new oxygen in there, those type 1 fibers, the slow twitch fibers that when you go out and you do conditioning or doing higher rep exercises, those type 1 fibers are going to fatigue very quickly because there's no oxygen or very low oxygen in there. So your type 2 fibers are going to have to take over your anaerobic system. That's generally what you use when you're doing heavier, powerful lifts. So your brain thinks they're doing a heavier, powerful lift because those muscle groups are being fired more than the type 1 fibers. That on top of just the typical way that bodybuilders build muscle, which is with hypertrophy, doing the pump sensation or the pump feeling that people talk about all the time. That's actually causing red blood cell ruptures because you're having so much blood pumped into the muscle, and those red blood cell ruptures alarms the brain. We're having damage, we're having issues, blah, blah, blah. We're going to release testosterone, growth hormones, and we're going to help try to repair that stronger for next time. So those two things is what helps BFR build up that strength. And I'll be honest, when it first came into my lap, I'm pretty old school strength coach, and I was one that did not buy into it at all. I definitely completely pulled a 180, though I don't think it's perfect for regular training. I think it's great for early on stage, early rehab recovery, and I think it's a very good tool to use in season if you're traveling somewhere and don't have access to a lot of equipment. I don't personally like it for long-term use in a bodybuilding or strength setting for my athletes, just because you're not getting as much tension on the tendons that are connecting your muscle to your bone. You're just getting the muscle growth. But since you don't have that actual stress of the heavy weight, you're not getting that stress on the tendon, so they're not going to grow stronger. So you could possibly have some issues there. I haven't really read much research on that specifically, but I'd be interested in seeing some of that. So hopefully this helps some of you guys. There's some cheaper options out there. We know somebody here that runs B Strong, and that's a unit that's pretty cheap. I want to say it's $100 or $200. You can get it at home if you're going through some kind of rehab and you can't do any weight or anything like that. It's a good way to kind of keep that strength up. If you want to go more of a clinical route, there's something called the Delphi unit, which we also use. It's way more accurate. Basically, it has a machine that connects to these pumps around your arm, and it's going to make sure that pressure is exactly the same the whole time, so it's cutting off the circulation the whole time. The B Strongs are great, but you do have to check your pressure occasionally between sets. As far as programming for this, usually it's 30 reps for the first round of the exercise, and then you're doing sets of 15 after that. So the purpose of that is those first 30, you're burning out those type 1 fibers, and then the next 3 to 4 sets. You're just doing mainly type 2 fiber workouts there. So pretty interesting stuff, and definitely seeing a lot of good stuff with it with our athletes, and hope to keep using it down the line and keep spreading the word on it. So good luck out there, and happy rehab.